like to make things inherently bad.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand it and it doesn't come out of what we think is right. We become, like in 1984, we become thought police. Where if you have something that I'm not sure of, let me demonize it. And then figure out if it's okay. But I don't know if I like it. But I mean, that's what we do when it comes to worship as well. When it comes to enjoying God with the people of God, we come at it the same way. We come at it with skepticism rather than, let me talk to you. Let me look at your heart. Let me see where God is in it. Let me see the beauty. And then let God shine. Versus
like, bruh, we in the field, we in the field, bruh, we in the field, we in the field. Just put it in work, we raising the bar. You tuned in to the Trackstarz.
All right, back in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. What's good?
All right, this segment is sponsored by the Midtown Bridge Church, and that's in ATL, y'all. The Midtown Bridge Church, a family pursuing the mission of Jesus. Make sure you go on to the website, themidtownbridge.com, and check out the current sermon of Bridges, all right?
All right, we have a very special guest in the house with us today. Pastor Damian L. Boyd is with us again. You may remember him from
what's going on
a while back. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Good to have you again.
I'm good.
Thank you for joining us.
So I hear you have a new book.
That's what I hear too.
That you've written. In Search of Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
How'd this one come about?
You know, some things just grab you, and other things are just great ideas. This was one of those. I just started writing. I had a lot of things in my heart. I was frustrated at the state of how the church, big church, sees. I was frustrated at how the big church sees worship, and how we've made it so stupid.
Okay.
For example, if I say the word worship, what's the first thing that comes in your mind?
That's a great question.
Hands lifted, choir,
singing a slow song.
Yeah.
It's not even the fast songs anymore. It's just the slow songs.
Right.
Worship's the slow songs, apparently. Because if you sing a fast song, that ain't worship. That's praise. And then if you spend time just kind of being still before God, that's not worship. That's something else. And if you're reading the Bible, that's not worship. That's something else. If you're loving somebody on his behalf, that's not worship. That's something else. The reality is we've made worship something it's not. And we've made it so small to where if you're only in a church building singing a slow song with a large group of people, if there's no smoke machine, apparently the Holy Spirit is in the room. You know, without smoke machines, you know, there's no way God is present. And hear me, nobody says this overtly, but that's how we determine what's good and what's not. Something wasn't here. Well, the smoke machine wasn't going. Oh.
Yeah, something's missing.
Yeah, it's like, what's wrong with you? If God isn't God bigger than those moments, then maybe we have a wrong understanding of who he is.
Yeah.
And maybe we've approached life differently. I think we mess up how people interact with the eternal God when we only make worship those things. And like I said, I don't see anybody out there going, yeah, worship is only those things. But the truth is, that's how we live and function in reality. Churches are better when there's 5,000 people in the room and all the bells and whistles and you got lights going off and you got all that. Well, then what does that say worship is if it's just 3 people in the room, love God, and are real intentional about how they live for him?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And I notice in your life, you seem to find beauty in all kinds of ways as well. The love of God, like with your cooking, with taking photos. And I was going to ask you, is this one of yours?
That is one of my photos.
I knew it was.
That is one of my photos.
So yeah, I've been over to Damian's house a few times, and he has his pictures up in, you know, on the walls, in the bathroom, everywhere. So he has these hidden talents where he finds ways to express his love for God in all kinds of ways. So that's what made me think of when I saw your picture on this book, that must be what you were talking about.
That's exactly it. We can miss beauty around us. The reality is everything that's made was made by a creator who knew what he was doing.
Right.
And his beauty is reflected in everything.
Yeah.
The problem is we run around talking about, well, God's not with me. I don't know if God's here. I don't know how close he is because I don't feel that emotive moment when it's like, man, look in the sky. look in the sky, look up. I was literally out last night and the sky was so beautiful. My wife and I were walking, I just had to stop. I literally dropped her hand and went, oh, will you look at that? Why? Because glimpses of God are all around us.
Right.
They're not just these moments of slow music in a place where a guitar is wailing or organs playing, and those moments are worship too, or can be, but that's not the totality of it. There are bigger moments. There's a story I tell in the book about me on a jet ski, and God just broke in to me on a jet ski.
Wow.
Now that is a moment when we're not expecting.
You're not looking for.
I wasn't looking for. I wasn't expecting. I was just a child of God doing what a child of God does in a moment with God. That God kind of just pulled me and said, "Hey, let's hang out."
Yeah.
But it wasn't in one of those spiritual moments. But I'm like, that's the reality, though. You know, it's just beauty there.
Now, you speak at a lot of churches and a lot of church events. Are you noticing that some of those formulaic aspects of worship are being overused or over-relied upon across America?
I don't think overused is a word I would put out there. I would say we need to teach people better about bigger. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with those things. There's nothing wrong with the smoke machine. There's nothing wrong with a musician that can just go bananas. There's nothing wrong with a singer that can sing the lights out. At my church, we got a singer that can sing the lights out. Candace kills it.
Yeah,
Hear me, our whole team is incredible. Our whole team is really good. We got one of the best guitar players out there.
We do.
Our whole, you come and worship with us and we're going to have a good old time. But if that's where worship ends and begins, then we're messed up. I think God is just simply bigger. At the introduction, I'll give you, for instance, on the introduction, I talk about being on a plane heading over to Korea. Our church has helped plant a church in Seoul, South Korea, Ocean City, Seoul. They're phenomenal. They're like us, but bigger. And they look a little different, but they're killing it. I love this church. We were on our way over, my wife and I just so happened, everybody's on a plane. Anybody been on a long international flight?
Yeah.
What happens is everybody's either asleep, eating, or looking at the movies.
Yeah.
And then they manufacture when you should sleep, like every 4 hours. They're like, oh, it's time to wake up.
Right.
And it's like, I just went to sleep. What are you doing to me?
Yeah.
I look out the window. The Aurora Borealis
Wow.
is outside the window.
Wow.
Nobody else in the entire plane knows that the Northern Lights are right there.
Wow.
People spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to see this miracle happen in the sky.
Right.
And I get there's a scientific whatever behind why that happens. But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Nobody else in this plane even noticed that it was there. That's the problem. Beauty is all around us. We're just so locked in on things that distract us, that bring nothing really to us. We're so locked in on things that don't matter as much, that we can miss those small, beautiful moments that God is screaming out, hey, look, there's a creator showing you his creation. You can get a glimpse of him if you just look out the window. But we're too happy to be stuck in the man-made, looking at the man-made.
I wonder,
rather than the God-made.
I wonder if also on your travels you notice that some of what we call worship is really cultural preference.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I read a book about
that.
Yeah.
That is 100% true. I heard a story about a young guy, two young guys. They were in a part of the world where most people aren't Christians. They're either Muslims or Jews.
Yeah.
And to be a Christian is a little dicey where they were. And they would meet in a car on a regular basis to worship God. Why? He says where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. Why is that not just as beautiful as 5,000?
Yeah.
5,000 can be amazingly beautiful. We've been in spaces where there have been 20, 30,000. It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
But God sees the 2 just as beautifully. I was in a communist country, and I'm just being cagey because I want to go back. I was in a communist country, and I was
KGB.
Huh?
No?
No,
Okay.
not that one.
KG.
KG, as in I'm not going to say fully.
okay.
But we're in this remote town, city where students are there. These students are learning. It's about 5, 6 students. They found God, got to know Him. There was 2, 3 leaders there They meet, watch videos online, and worship. The entire Christian witness in a 2 million person town, well, city, 6 students, 3 adults, watching videos that they somehow get from places of the world like ours. And that's their worship.
Wow.
And when I sat in that moment, I went, this is the church. But most people wouldn't even know that this is the church. They wouldn't call it church. They try to call it something else. But when you look at the Bible, this is church. This is the beauty. This is the assembly. This is, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. 6 students, 3 adults, loving Jesus in a place where it can be illegal to do so. So the cultural side of that is we've messed it up. And in America, in the West, but definitely in America, I think we've attached God to the American dream. So if the pursuit of happiness isn't in there, then somehow it's not God.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. We've messed up.
Very true.
What God was getting at, and in other places, it's a purer version of what was seen in Acts, because we water it down to make it look like us. Think about years ago where hip hop was, you know, there were people writing books about how hip hop was of the devil.
Yep.
And I'm like, really? Hip hop? Okay, I think I'm gonna create something with hip hop just because you think God can't use hip hop. So, and that's what I did. It was like, it frustrated me because it's like, you know, we want to demonize what we don't understand. And we want to demonize something that from our view is bad. Like from our perspective, it's bad. Well, things that are okay now were bad 20 years ago until we realized, oh, that's not inherently bad. It's not inherently bad. It's just how you look at it. I'll give you another for instance. I can do this forever. Harry Potter. Oh my God, Harry Potter's the enemy, the devil.
It was.
People were writing.
Everybody said that.
But I've read Harry Potter several times. I enjoy it.
The movie, I enjoyed it.
I have a wand. I'm serious. I love it. But you know what? Before I read that, I read Lord of the Rings. The stories are the same story. Nobody wanted to condemn Lord of the Rings. It's literally the same story. I get it. It's magic in our world. You know, I'm a voracious reader. I'm reading books all the time, and I read a lot of fantasy just because it's fun to me. I like escaping into another world. But we don't worry about any other fantasy. Now there's some books that are intentionally written to go, screw Christians. Not talking about that. But I'm talking about just fantasy. It's another world. Harry Potter just looks more like our world, so it freaks everybody out. But honestly, you know, it's no more inherently bad than The Lord of the Rings is. And
a lot of Christians like Tolkien and C.S. Lewis use that world to preach the gospel.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, you look at, if you read Lewis, we're taking my son through the Chronicles now. If you read Lewis and you read Tolkien, both of them, you know, J.K. Rowling got all her stuff. You can tell she studied them.
Martin did.
Oh, dude, studied them. So their themes of heroic movement and insignificant people doing great things, they're not inherently bad. But we like to make things inherently bad. Because we don't understand it and it doesn't come out of what we think is right. We become, like in 1984, we become thought police. Where if you have something that I'm not sure of, let me demonize it. And then figure out if it's okay. But I don't know if I like it. But I mean, that's what we do when it comes to worship as well. When it comes to enjoying God with the people of God, we come at it the same way. We come at it with skepticism rather than, let me talk to you. Let me look at your heart. Let me see where God is in it. Let me see the beauty. And then let God shine. Versus automatically assuming beauty can't come from something that doesn't look like, think like, or function like me. And that's the problem. We think beauty should look like what we think beauty should look like, rather than the God who is beautiful showing beauty in all things.
I want to go back to the point you just made, right, with overreaching and Christians doing that with just say young kids, right? I have young kids, and I get asked all the time, like, do you let your kids watch this? And I'm like, oh, you know, yeah. I mean, I've watched it with them, so I policed it. But I mean, things that I feel like my daughter's not really picking up on. Like, what was the one? It's Oh man, it's not Sabrina. I'm thinking about the one with the fairies and the wands.
I have absolutely no idea.
Odd Parents?
Huh?
Fairly Odd Parents?
No, this is a cartoon.
I got a 15-year-old boy.
This is a cartoon.
I have no idea.
Even with Frozen, right? With her having the magical powers of ice and changing things around. Like people were like, "Oh, I don't let my kids watch that," and I'm like, I feel like we overreach sometimes, and I think it's more of a, I don't know, it's a crossing the line thing, more so than you using common sense. How do you speak to that when you talk to people who are just like overreaching about the things of God that can just be simplified if you just ask the right questions? And
I share my perspective and then I'll move on. There's some people that just make up in their minds that if they don't understand it, the reason I started reading Harry Potter is because everybody I knew was talking about it, and talking about how bad it was, and talking about how evil it was. And when I read it, I went, "Oh, I know this." Yeah. Like with my son, he hasn't gotten into Potter. That's not his thing. It's my thing as a grown adult. Don't you judge me. But we wanted to take him through Lewis first, and then we'll take him through Tolkien. Yeah. Then we may get there to Potter. Yeah. I'm still making sure that he learns what he needs to learn. I still want to make sure he has a foundation. I still want to make sure he gets what he gets. So parents, be a good parent, but at the same time, there is a real devil that hates us and wants to corrupt. But there are more corrupting forces around you than you can ever imagine. And there are things that we assume are corrupting that aren't at all. Right. So my thing is, know what your kids are doing. Guard what they're doing, but then at the same time, don't just parrot. Here's the thing. We parrot perspectives that other people said rather than discovering for ourselves what truth is in it.
Yeah. You won't watch it. You just
just like, I'm just assuming it's bad. Right. I'm assuming it's bad because I watched this show, I heard this preacher, I heard so-and-so say. No. I didn't want secondhand knowledge of what somebody else said. And like I said, when I read it, I was like, this is Tolkien all over again. Yeah. Dobby is Gollum. Yeah. Third person little guy that is creepy with big eyes and talks to himself with the ring wraiths are the Dementors. Do you not see this? I'm like reading, like, can no one see this? Like, this is the same stuff. Yeah. But just it's how it's packaged, and we like to lose our minds. Like I said, there are legitimate things out there where people that wrote it are like, yeah, I actually meant to thumb my nose at Christians. Yeah, there's some things I'm not going to let my son read. Yeah. But when he becomes an adult, he may read it anyway. There's things I read that I don't agree with.
Yeah, you got to be strong enough to be able to do
We don't even teach our kids how to think anymore.
Yeah. We want to keep them away from it instead of teaching them how to deal with it.
No, my son is old enough now to discern what's God and what's not. I have to teach him to find beautiful for himself, not just tell him what I think is right and good. See, that's what real discipleship is. Yeah. Real discipleship is not having everybody think the way I think and depend on me for their thinking. Real discipleship is I'm going to empower you to think for yourself, to find God for yourself. So if I'm not around, you still run forward. But we don't like to do that anymore. We just like little automatons, people that do what we want them to do. We don't want to teach people how to think, how to process, and how to look at the world in new ways to where they can go, oh, that's not right.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That's good, man. That's good.
You know, back when you guys were doing Destinations, I used to think you prepare for the wise one act, but it is like all who you are. Like that's
I did prepare. Don't let you put down my preparation.
That felt so real and authentic when you did that. It was almost like you would have moments because you would relate to things that you saw on the show. You would relate to things that were happening currently. And I'm thinking nobody goes home and prepares that.
Yeah, somebody does.
That's insane.
No, but the reality is, it's like one of my favorite ones. One of my favorite ones. I did a talk. It was 10-minute talk. I got really good at speaking at Destinations.
Yeah,
because y'all made me stick to 10 minutes. And one of the best talks I ever gave was about Angry Birds.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
The whole point was distraction. We spend so much time doing things that don't really matter that we get distracted from things that really do.
Yeah, it's the same
that
thing
was one of my favorite ones, but I think too often we are busy trying to pull things, just because something is biblical doesn't mean it's not relevant. Biblical is relevant. You just have to show the relevance. so often these are two worlds where we'll talk about what's going on in culture, or we'll talk about what's happening in the Bible. But if you can't bring the two together, then one means nothing to the other. Both have to work side by side.
Right.
And that's what I was always trying to do at Destinations. Let me take what people are thinking about, how people feel. They used to get me in trouble all the time with their themes. And if I get pulled in the office, it's like, you don't know. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, we did one called G-string.
I remember G-string. I was there.
But it was about the G-string on a guitar.
I was there.
And literally on the flyer we had a guitar string.
Yeah, it was pink. I had to design that.
The G-string was there, and I'm like, and they're like, what's this about? I'm like, look at it.
We had worse than that.
Yeah, we're playing. Oh, Hypnotic almost got me fired. Hypnotic almost got
Naked.
me. Oh, we did. Yeah, we did do a show called Naked.
Yeah.
But the culture loved it.
Well, yeah.
When I say the culture loved it, people who did not know Jesus,
they would love it.
Wanted to come and hang out, and they were like, "This is the best thing ever," because we were who we were.
We weren't trying to. People say sugarcoat, but we weren't trying to trick you into being a Christian. Like this is really what it is. Like
we were showing our lives.
Yeah.
This is how we connect to this eternal message with this infinitely powerful God, and we live in the midst of it.
Yeah.
But guess who else did that? A little guy named Jesus.
Yeah.
He went, all right, y'all farmers. Let me talk in farming terms.
Yeah, back then you had Sean on the leash though, because when he let loose and did his own thing, we had a show called Thoughts. It was exactly what you thought it was too. It was crazy.
Well, yeah. Well,
we had him on a leash, but
sometimes you need a little wisdom to enter the room.
That was a good show.
But sometimes you needed a little wisdom, and I was that. I was there to kind of.
We
keep
always
balance.
have to say, okay, Damian. So what do you think?
Yeah.
And
we'll go crazy in there, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah, I had not. But once again, I was discipling.
Yeah.
So it was the idea of, hey, let me guide you, let me walk you forward, so that because my goal wasn't to offend older folks.
Yeah.
I want you to understand that we're doing something that's cutting edge and it's different. And just because it's different, don't think it's ugly and nasty and dirty.
Yeah.
You know, it can still be beautiful.
Yeah. But you all
hashtag in search of beautiful.
You all covered all your tracks, because even when you all did Rethink,
the
following day, it was like people showed up for that so that they could get, you know, more of the message, more of
pass the mic.
Yeah, pass the mic. So those are really good. I mean, it's just real thought out. So you're right. You can see beautiful in everything.
But if you're looking, if you're looking, very often we're not looking. We're assuming, and we're presuming, and we aren't looking.
And if you're not coming from a place of pride that you have it all right and everybody else has it wrong, right?
Yeah.
In Search of Beautiful, Pastor Damian L. Boyd. You hanging out with us today? We got to talk about a lot of stuff.
We need you.
If you'll let me, I was getting ready to
talk
walk
about
out.
this trial.
I was gonna go home.
Kanye West.
I was gonna go home, but if y'all need me to stay around,
yeah, we need
I can be the wise one for another little bit.
Oh yeah.
The wise one in the building. Let's get back into it. You in the field with the track stars, Ryan Wright, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Make sure you go below, like it, subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you follow us on all forms of our social media. Also, check out our website and be sure you spread the word. We'll see you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in the lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom.
Yeah.
We not through yet.
All right.
Trackstarz Music presents.
Turn my volume up. Turn me off.